How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm back with another video. We're going to be working on the chef's knife today. We're going to be working on the handle and trying to get the blade finished up. So there's still a lot to do to this knife before it's finished, but I think I decided that I'm going to do a hidden tang on this, and we got plenty of stock. I was not going to do the hidden tang, but I decided to go with the hidden tang, and we got more than enough stock on here to go ahead and grind this down and make it a hidden tang knife. So let me show you what I'm thinking about using for the handle itself. Okay, we're going to try to use at least one piece of deer antler. I'm going to use one piece of copper. I have this nice copper plate. I'm going to try now to use a couple pieces of brass. These are old shells. We're going to cut them and open them up and see if we can use a couple pieces of that. I'm going to use one piece of leather. I don't have any leather in the garage right here. It's in the house. And then we're going to use one piece of black walnut. So basically we're going to have deer antler, brass, leather, brass, black walnut, and copper, all in one handle. So I've kind of figured, I kind of marked this out a little bit here where I'm going to cut. I'm just going to grind this down. I think I can either, I think I just take it to the belt sander and grind this down and get me a hidden tang out of this. So I'm going to work on the knife, cleaning it up a little bit more, and getting that cut for that hidden tang. Alright, that's looking pretty good. I think that's going to work. Just got a little bit more cleaning up to do on it, and then we're going to start piecing our handle on there. Okay, I've been working on this for about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. And that's what we got so far. We're down to 100. I'm not sure what size this sandpaper is. It's pretty small. We went from 50 to 80 to 120 and then 220. And yeah, this is 220 here. So we're down to 220 on the sandpaper. Now, the rest of this I'll hand sand, because I don't have actually any finer paper than that. So I think we got okay for our hidden tang. I think that's going to be okay. Everything looks really good right now. The blade is actually looking really nice. So we're going to go ahead and start working, I think, on this handle. Okay, what I'm going to do here, I just marked out a little piece of square of this brass. We're going to go ahead and chop this out of the way here. We'll have us a little chunk of, this is copper, I'm sorry. Okay, there's just a hunk of copper. So we're going to clean this up just a little bit, and that's going to be the first piece on our tang. Alright, I measured out about how long, and I got the center of that. We're just going to drill a couple holes, and these are going to be where we're going to start and finish with our hole. This is just an 1/8 inch bit. That's about how wide that tang is, about an 1/8 inch. Okay, what I've done is I drilled a row of holes in there, and I just took my file and filed down through there. And I'm going to work on this. This is going to take a while just to get this one to fit all the way up to here. So we got some work to do here, but I'm going to take my time and get this thing to fit just perfect on there. Okay, I got this to fit on here pretty decent now. So that's our first piece. And I think that'll actually tap down on there. It's got a little gap there, but I think that'll tap right down on there pretty good. So we got the copper. Now this is the piece of walnut. This is black walnut. That's going to be our next piece to go on. And let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down on here like so, and then I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to trace this out inside. And then we're going to take a small drill, 1/8 inch drill, and we're going to start drilling this out right here, all the way through, straight through. We're just going to keep drilling it until we get us a hole in there, and then we're going to start filing that out and clean it up to where it fits on the knife next. We'll be able to slide it on next. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on now, getting this drilled out. Okay, what I've done is I just took a drill and drilled this out and kind of wallered the holes out. And now I marked on both ends
I can see about where that line is. So I want that one to line up there. This one to line up here. Now these holes don't have to be perfect because you're going to fill that full of glue. So I just basically got to get this one down a little bit more right there. I got a bunch of little files I've been using just to sit here and work my way down through there. So we're just going to get this to where it'll fit right on that blade, and that'll be our second piece. So we'll have our copper, and we'll have our black walnut, and then we're going to work with some other stuff there. I'm going to try to do brass, and then a piece of leather, then another piece of brass, and then a deer antler. So we're just going to get this cleaned up here. Okay, as you can see, we got the other block on here. This is our black walnut, and we got it on there, and it's actually pretty tight. It's pretty tight, but it fits pretty good. Yeah, it's going to take some pressure, a little bit, getting it up on there, but I think that's going to work out pretty good. So now we got to get our piece of brass, and then a small piece of leather, and then a piece of deer antler. Now I may cut this down just a little bit. I could still cut this down. It's good up to there, but I can make it like maybe 1 inch and just cut it off, and then put my other pieces on there, and then put my deer antler after that. So we still got room to work. We still got room to play with this a little bit. So it's looking better. Looking better. We don't care about the excess wood, like the bulk of this, because this is all going to get ground down. After we get it glued on there, we'll take the grinder and we'll clean all this up, and we'll do the shaping of the handle. Alright, we got this block and that block done, and I've been sitting here kind of sanding on this blade here, and I wasn't too crazy about how close this is to this, so I've decided to cut this out right here, and basically this would be the same shape as this up here, but just angled that way. So I think that would be good. That'll get it away from here and allow me to carve more on this handle, and I think it'll look better too. And I took a big old piece of leather here and cut me a chunk of leather. Now we're going to put a piece of brass on this. There's going to be a small plate of brass on here, like the bullet casing we're going to try, and then you'll put this piece on, and then we'll put another piece of brass on the back side of this, and then we're going to put our deer antler on there. So I just kind of been working on this just a little bit at a time, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece here out. I think that might be my next step, to cut this out, and then make the 2 pieces of brass and then the deer antler. The beginning we was going to use a shell. I cut one shell and flattened it out. Of course they're round, so I just cut it down the side, opened it up, flattened it out on the anvil. But it's so thin that you wouldn't be able to see it that good, and that's supposed to go on one side of the leather and on the other side. So I wasn't crazy about the thin shell, so I came up with some good 1/8 inch thick brass, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about this piece of brass a little bit later, because the rest of it's in the garage. I bought about 25 pounds of this, so I got enough pretty much to last me a lifetime. So I really like this better because it's thicker, and then when we sand it, you're going to notice this in there so much better. And this piece, they're just going to be sandwiched together like so. So what we got to do is we got to get these two plates cut and slid down on here, and I had found me a piece of deer antler. This is the piece of deer antler that I'm going to finish out the handle with. So, and I think this is going to be a good piece of deer antler for this. And I just went out in that POW. It's like really cold outside. I wasn't going to build a fire in the garage, and I still wanted to work on this, so I come in here. I went out, cut this piece, and cut these little pieces, cleaned them up, and came back in so I can continue to work on this thing. So we've got a little bit of work cut out for us here, but I think we could get this all to line up on here and be pretty good. Was a little bit worried about this piece here, but I think it's gonna be just about good. They're probably going to have to sand a little bit on the deer antler, because once we get all this sanded down, that thing is going to be really close. So it's probably going to be a little bit bigger, but we can sand on the sides of this a little bit to line it up with this piece. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and get these notched out. So we'll have all of our pieces on there besides the deer antler, and then we're going to get it carved out. And as you see, it's kind of an oval almost, because there was a point that stuck up here, and I was going to leave that little oval on there, and that will go pretty good with the shape of the handle. So let's get on the plates and get them finished up first. Basically, on cutting this hole, all I'm doing is drilling a few holes in a row, and then I'll get my little files in there and I'll file that out till it fits on my tang. I think you could take a little Dremel tool and you could cut that out and probably do a lot better job with the Dremel tool. But I'm still learning, and we're going to keep cutting. Now I just took my round file, I kept going until I got a little slot in there, big enough to get my little flat file in there. Now I'm just going to keep going with this until we get it all cleaned up. And I've been using this little anvil in my room here to work on, and it does pretty good. I got one of them little clamps on there, and it works pretty good. So I'm going to do this to both of these pieces of brass. We're going to get them to fit on both sides of that piece of leather. Once we have it to where the tang will go in, like so, we just have to start making it wider. Up this way and down that way. We got this piece to fit pretty good. It fits on there pretty good. Now, none of this is going to look really nice until we get it on that belt sander and really it should start taking shape. But this all has to be glued and everything first, sandwiched together, clamped down, and then once it's all set up, that's when we'll take it to the sander and really make this handle stand out. So we got this piece done. We're going to get started on the other one. We have one more plate here to work on. This plate here, and then we can start on our antler. So we're going to get this one done up next. Alright, now we got all these pieces here that will fit on there good. So we're going to start working on the deer antler next. And it's basically the same thing. I'm going to drill a bunch of holes, and then I'm just going to work a foul in there and foul them out. But what I will do is I'm going to put my bit to where it'll just drill what I want it to drill. So I'll set the bit to where it's just going to drill the depth of my hole. I'll go just like 1/8 of an inch, maybe a deeper. So we'll be just a little bit deeper. I put it on this side, you'll see about 1/8 of an inch. About 1/8 inch deeper. Because we don't want to go all the way through the deer antler. We don't want to come out the bottom. And if let's take a look at this thing. And our deer antler, it's going to go pretty good ways down in there. It don't look like much sticking out of there, but compared to what the antler is there, it's going to go pretty good. So I just laid, this is actually the way it's going to go on. And I just laid that plate, this plate here, on the top of here, and I just kind of centered it up and took a pencil and marked it out. So I know I got a lot of grinding to do once this thing's done, but I think this is the best way to do it, and it's centered up there pretty good. So that's the next thing. And like I said, basically we're just going to start drilling holes until we get it down in there. And this thing is kind of in a V shape, like. So that's basically how we'll drill a few holes down through there. I don't know how many I'll be able to get in there, but I'm going to try to be real careful and just drill this thing by hand. And I don't know if this is the way I'm supposed to do it or not, but this is the way I'm going to do it. So it's just basically going to take my time and drill it, try to keep it as straight as I can. I'm going to keep that thing as straight as I possibly can. That's going to be a hard one to do, but I think we could do it. Alright, we got our antler to fit on there. And I just basically, most of it was done with the drill. I just kind of pushed the drill on in an angle, like push it down, back and forth. And then I fouled it a little bit, but not a lot. Now, I did notice I'm going to have to take the antler to the sander because it's not laying flush up against this piece of metal right here. So what we'll do is we'll fine tune it. We'll take it out in the garage and take the belt sander and get it to where it rests up against there nice and tight and flat. So we don't want no gaps in there. So, and we also still got to get this guy cut off. I think that's going to make it look a lot nicer once we get that part of the blade cut off there. And like I said, it'll give us more room to work on this here when the time comes that we have to work on it. So it's looking better. We just got to clean that up right there a little bit so it goes right up on there nice and tight. Now I am going to put a couple pins in this. I'll probably put a pin here, at least one pin on this end and one pin into this piece here. So that's going to help hold it into place too. So, and of course we'll be epoxying all this together. So that's that part so far. We're getting there. Alright, I got the back of the deer antler here, and we cut it with the bandsaw. And you know, I'm trying to pay attention to detail when I'm doing this, but I want this to be nice and smooth. I don't want those marks in there from where the bandsaw it was. And it's kind of rounded, it's not flat, because I tried to go as close as I could to the edge. So, you know, when I build these knives, it takes me a very, very long time to build a knife. But when you get a knife, it's a good knife, I think, you know. I don't think anybody anymore, or not a lot of people, take pride in their work. And that's something I think that we all should do. Take pride in your work and do a nice job. Do your best at it. So people are going to wonder how long it took me to build this knife, and I'm not sure that I'd be able to tell you. But I'm going to clean this up because I'm not going to the garage. It's getting late. Tomorrow, hopefully, I can clean this up and get it set down on the blade, on the tang, and get this all glued together tomorrow. Well, of course, we got to grind this off. I want to make sure I have this ground off first, and then we'll get that glued down on there. We'll get it cleaned up and glued down on there. But it's a little boring doing this, but it sure is going to look good. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and cut this down. We're going to use this little grinder here. I think it'll work better. Alright, we got that semi pretty nice in there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Dremel and clean that out with the Dremel real good. That'll make it a lot nicer. So now I'm going to work on the tang, or the handle. I'm going to try to get all that handle resting down there nice and tight. Okay, I'm not sure that I'm going to get that handle to fit any better than what it is there. So I think we're okay with that. So now I'm just going to, I'll be using a Dremel tool a little bit, and I'm going to find a clamp big enough to hold this whole thing. Okay, we're going to get ready to mix up our epoxy, and we're just using this 5-minute epoxy. It's really good stuff. It's what I've been using on all my knives. I couldn't find this. I picked it up at Lowe's, and now I know I can get it off of Amazon. It was cheaper on Amazon than what it was on Lowe's, so I will leave a link in the description down below for the 5-minute epoxy at Amazon, which I'm going to be ordering myself some more. I did pick up a thing of Gorilla Glue, 2-part epoxy Gorilla Glue, just in case I didn't have enough. But this is pretty expensive compared to the amount you get in this. So this is actually a better deal than this here, but I got it in case I need it. I have it. But I think we're going to have enough here. So we're going to have everything laid out here, how we're going to put it on. And we're going to go ahead and get us some glue mixed up, and I'm gonna have to work as quick as I can here. Hopefully I can do this in 5 minutes. So we're gonna get her mixed up and get her glued on. Hopefully, like I said, this will all work out okay. We're probably going to mix up a little more than we need, but better to have too much in this than not enough. So we're gonna have to get ready, get mixing, and get to working here. Hopefully I got more than I need. Alright, we better get going because our time is ticking here. So we're gonna start right up here on the top. Throwing some glue on this guy. We're gonna get our first piece on. Any excess glue, I'll just scrape right off of there. Get our handle here, piece of wood. Now we're going to do our leather. One thing I probably should have got was some more rags. Had some rags here to work with. Now for the deer antler. We definitely want to get what we can down in this deer antler. And what we can on our tang here. Oh, we got a mess. Okay, now I got a big old vise here. I'm going to attempt to get this in a vise, or a clamp. Attempt. I tried to do it earlier. It was actually really tough to do. So, if I can get that thing to stick on there, it gives me a little better chance of getting that in that clamp here. So we got it in there, clamped up pretty good. I'm going to attempt to clean off a little bit of the extra glue, because that stuff is even hard to sand. Just hoping it'll stay in that vise. I don't like it on the antler part. Of course, it doesn't take long. I'm gonna put that plate under there so that glue's not dripping on my thing. I think we're just gonna leave it alone and let it set up. Hopefully it's all nice and tight in there, and it's gonna look pretty good, hopefully.
Okay, we got our knife handle all glued on. I'm gonna clean up a little bit of this on the big grinder here, and then we're gonna take it over to the 1-inch grinder, belt sander, and we're gonna do as much as we can. It's very cold out here today, but we're gonna try to get this knife finished up.
Okay, we're going to get ready to do our 2 little pins. These are just small brass pins, and I just wanted to get a couple something in there. This is a chef's knife. It's not something you would throw or something you're going to run out and chop trees down with or anything. Not saying that you couldn't, but it's not made for that. It's made to use on the cutting board. Not sure if I could get some of this down in there. Now this back hole, I didn't drill all the way through. I didn't drill that hole all the way through. I didn't want it to go all the way through. It's only made to go through the steel and into the other part of the I just got it down in the other part of the antler a little bit. You know, one thing, this glue is very hard to get off once it starts setting up. I didn't want it on that antler, so need something to wipe this a little better. I don't care if I have to mix up some more. I just don't want to have to sand that off that antler. That is tough. They probably got some kind of a stuff that'll take that off easier, but I don't know what it is. Okay, so that pin is good. Get our other pin in here. We'll try to clean it off of there too, because we're going to be hand sanding the rest of this. So, get some on our pin. Get her put down in there. Now this one is made to go all the way through. I think it's about out. Yep. So we got that one to go all the way through. And then this one just goes through the steel, or through the antler, through the steel. I didn't want it to come out on this side because I'd have a hard time sanding it. Okay, so we got most of the glue wiped off of that. It should be okay. We're going to let that set up, and then we're going to cut those off and start the sanding process on this piece here. And the rest of this will all be hand sanded. Besides these, I'll knock these off with a Dremel. Okay, I cut them pins off with the little Dremel tool and just sanded them down with the disc as close as I could get them. And now it's time to do a lot of hand sanding. So I'm just going to work on hand sanding this down, making sure everything is nice and smooth. And then we'll have this blade about done.
Well, the video is getting a little too long. It's at 40-some minutes. You know, I hate to make videos that long, but I really honestly don't like to leave out any parts either. I know a lot of times when you guys are watching, like, let's say Forged in Fire, that's a 3-hour process. Now, they're not making a perfect knife in that 3 hours either. but they still don't show you every single step of the way and what it takes to actually put a handle on a knife or to even forge a knife as far as that goes. So I really like to do a video and try to show you every single step. And I know sometimes they get long and they may get boring, but that's just the way it is. I mean, that's how you build a knife. So we're going to stop the video right here, and I promise you in the next video you're going to see the finished knife. It still have a lot of sanding to do, and there's just a lot of work to do to it yet to get it to where it really looks nice. So I'm going to do one little twist in the next video. I'm going to make a little thing to put it in so I can display it, set it in, and I'll take you along with that too with the next build or with the next video. So hang in there and catch the next one. You'll get to see it completed. I would like to tell everybody thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment if you'd like. Till next time.